A capability that's been around for a very long time that surprises me sometimes that more application development efforts don't incorporate this as a core communication standard is the idea of message queuing. And the idea of message queuing is rather than having, let's say, a client that is in direct communication and has, let's say, session-based communication open with a service, all right, you use an intermediary. You use a message queue so the client can drop messages off for the server and the server can pick up those messages from the queue. All right, and then the server processes it, could also drop some kind of acknowledgement back into the queue or into another queue that the client would then monitor and pick up. The advantage of this is that you get what's called a decoupled architecture, and you get a more resilient architecture, right? If I've got multiple services and I've got an application that uses multiple services and I'm using session-based communication between those, it means I've got multiple points of failure, right? So if any one of those services fails or becomes unavailable, that becomes a real problem for my application. But if I set up this decoupled architecture where the application just drops messages off, it really becomes independent of what's going on with the services. Now, if you're thinking, well, that actually would require a bit of re-architecting applications, you are absolutely correct, all right? And that is something that goes beyond what we're going to do much of in this module. All right, we're going to take a look at the queuing capabilities that are available to you within Azure. All right, and we'll look at how that can be implemented from an application architecture standpoint, but it's really up to you to say, okay, I understand the idea of message queuing. And if you already understood the idea of message queuing, sorry, I just wasted a couple minutes of your time, but you still want to go through the module to see how it's implemented within Azure. But in any case, we're going to go through to make sure you understand how queuing works in Azure, and then take away from this, go away from this and think, okay, how can I implement this within an application so that I can decouple different services in my application and make it more resilient. And we're also, by the way, going to look at a couple of other related topics that are made available through Azure. We're going to take a look at what's called the Service Bus Relay, which is a very cool capability. And we're also going to look at notification hubs and how that can potentially make mobile application development much easier.